night, golfers. Jack Spencer here, Practical Golf for All. Today I'd like to revisit chipping and pitching. It's a vital part of the game for us so that we can post our best possible scores, because we aren't going to hit 13, 14, or 15 greens in regulation. Hopefully we'll be around the green, and the more strokes you can save on and around the greens, the better your score is going to be. I'm going to go over two basic types of chips. The first one is going to be a little bit lower. It's going to run out a little bit more, maybe 50% in the air, 50% on the ground. The second one's going to be a little bit more lofted, maybe 60, 70% in the air, 30 to 40% run out. The technique is exactly the same. And what I'm going to do here is to control the length of my chip or pitch. I'm going to control it with my body, not my hands and arms. Bigger muscles. It makes it much more predictable in my mind. The other thing I would like to emphasize is, especially on a real tightly mown area like this mat, you need a little bit of bounce on your club. If you don't have bounce, the incidence of this leading edge digging in and resulting in a chunk, or if you hit it too high on the ball, a skull, it's a lot more prevalent without bounce on the club. What you want to do is have this club just skim across the grass, not a divot. So for a lower pitch, I play the ball off, or a chip, but I play the ball off the inside of my back foot. I have my weight evenly distributed. I set my hands down, and you can see my hands are ahead of the ball in the club head. I just caught my wrists, and then I turned through it, shifting my weight to this front foot. Real simple. Now, if you happen to be somebody that doesn't want, for myself, I like to use a little bit of wrist cock like that. If you're somebody who would be more comfortable using more of a putting motion, you don't have to cock your wrist, but the technique's the same thing. If you want to take that variable out of it, that's a personal decision. If I want this ball to go a little bit higher, land a little bit more softly on the green, I just move it to the inside of my front foot. And you can see when I address it, that brings my hands more in line with the ball in the club head. But the technique is going to be exactly the same. Just a turn through the ball. So I'm going to aim for that middle painted area on my net. There, that's off my back foot, a little lower. I think it hit right at the bottom of that paint. Same thing. If I want this ball to go a little bit higher, land a little bit more softly, I move it to the instep of my lead foot. That repositions my hands a little bit. You can see that landed right about in here. A lot higher, a lot softer landing. The reason why I don't like people to use their wrists and arms on this is, even if you strike it squarely, it adds a variable, and most commonly you'll pull it left a little bit. It's like that hit about right there. So that's going to be significant on a shorter shot. It's real hard to control distance and accuracy if you allow your hands and wrists to be part of it. I will say, if you have a very long chip and you really want it to run out, then you can allow that club face to roll over. You want to play it off the inside of your back. Still turn, but allow the face to, you almost have to think about allowing the face to roll over. The initial technique that I just showed there, almost always when you go through it, the face is going to stay open. It's going to be pointed up towards the sky a little bit. again, the technique is the same. Even weight distribution, and just transfer to your front foot. Even transfer. A lot of people say, well, you want to start with your weight on your front foot. And to me, I just have a hard time with that. If you're more comfortable with that, again, I'm not telling you 100% how to do this. I'm just showing you what I think is a fairly simple and easy to master technique. And I think that is just use your body. If you want to hit it harder, turn a little harder. The last thing I'll go over, and this is very, very difficult off a tight lie like this, we'll see how it goes, is a lob shot. A lob shot is the only shot in golf that I can think of where you want this trail hand to really take over, and you want to flick it palms up underneath the ball. Be very careful when you choose this shot. Ideally, the ball should be sitting in some grass, not the whole way down, obviously not settled down to the dirt, and certainly not sitting way up on it, because if you try a lob shot with that, you're probably going to go right underneath the ball. You need a little bit of grass, maybe half inch or an inch of grass underneath the ball, and you want to flick. You want to flick this trail hand underneath it. Same basic technique, but, and again, to do this off a real tightly mown area, it's not easy. What I'll do is I'll set myself very open, almost to the point where I'm facing where I want this ball to land. And then I just go underneath it. So I have myself set quite open to the target. And there, right up over the net. I mean, that's a shot you need to really practice if you want to use it. It's a good shot to have in your bag, but it does require a little bit of practice. I have a ball here, painted red. I'm not to the point where I play pink balls yet. But the reason why I did this is to demonstrate how important it is to hit even a chip or a pitch and a putt. You need to hit it solid. You need to find the center of the club face. If you really want to control distance, you need a good solid strike. And the reason why I have this painted is, I don't know if you can see the red mark on this club or not, where it's striking the ball, but that's really pretty good. Good solid contact equals consistency. I hope you find this to be helpful. I think it's a relatively easy to master technique, and I really think that it'll pay dividends for your short game on and around the greens and help you post your best possible scores. Thank you, and I hope you tune in again sometime.